Welcome to the next installment in my video lecture series in economics. And in this particular video lecture, I'm going to be taking a look at a homework assignment, in particular a homework assignment at Rowan University in the spring of 2018 for my introductory microeconomics course. And as you can see on the screen here, here's the description of the homework assignment. And what we're going to be looking at is the first part here. So the question is, assuming increasing opportunity costs, graphically illustrate a production possibilities frontier for beer on the x-axis and pizza on the y-axis. Show three production outcomes that represent C, an inefficient level of production, B, an efficient level of production, and A level of production that is presently unattainable on the same graph. Clearly explain your reasoning for all parts of your graph, and in parentheses here I have providing a definition of the PPF is quite useful. Realize that on the test coming up that any hints like this will not be included in the question. So let me bring in my OmniGraph sketcher here. So here we have beer on the x-axis and pizza on the y-axis, and we were told to illustrate a production possibilities frontier that exhibits increasing opportunity cost. So that would be a production possibilities frontier that exhibits increasing opportunity cost. And let me change the formatting on that so it's a solid line. All right, so make sure you label the items that you're drawing in the graph here. And let me change the font size on that so it's a little easier for everybody to see. That's pretty good. And let me change the distancing a little bit also. So with your explanation, generally I tell people that you can do a couple of things. One, you can talk descriptively about what you did, but with an explanation, you're giving a reasoning or a rationale as to why, or an explanation for what's occurring. So for example, with a PPF that exhibits increasing opportunity cost, it is a curve, as opposed to a PPF that's a straight line which exhibits constant opportunity cost. The explanation for that is that the PPF, the slope of the PPF, is the measure of the is the measure of the opportunity cost. So a straight line has a constant slope, therefore it has a constant opportunity cost associated with it. And a PPF that is a curve, the slope of this line varies depending upon where you are on the PPF, therefore it is exhibiting increasing opportunity cost. So as a reminder, at my advanced age here, I can't remember what I'm supposed to be doing here. So C is inefficient, B is efficient and possible, and A is inefficient and possible. So again, we have point C is, C is an inefficient level. So let's do C. C is an inefficient level here. So we can label that. Let me actually draw all the points in while I'm doing it. Make it a little bit easier. So that's point C. That represents an inefficient combination. And make the size of that a little bit bigger. B represents a combination of outputs for beer and pizza that is possible and efficient. And A is representing a combination, production combination that is impossible to attain at the present time. So the best way to do this going forward and going on a test if you're asked this is use the definition of the PPF in explaining B and then contrast points A and C to B. So remember, what's the definition of a PPF? The definition of a production possibilities frontier is it's a graphical representation of the maximum, of all the maximum output levels of the two goods that we're talking about, given that we're using our inputs efficiently. So realize that this PPF here, any combination on the PPF is possible, but it entails efficiently using all of our resources. So if you use that definition, that gives you the explanation for B. It's on the PPF by the definition of what the PPF is. this is a combination that is possible and it entails an efficient use of our resources. Once you do that, it's easy to compare the other 2 points. So if this is the maximum that can be produced given the labor, capital, and level of technology that we have, point A entails producing outside or to the right of the PPF, which means that we don't have the resources to produce A. So A is unattainable because it's outside of the PPF, and since the PPF represents maximum levels of production, anything that entails production greater than that is impossible to attain. You can use the definition of the PPF again and point B and compare it to point C. So with point C, again, it was an inefficient level production. Apologies for that. As I said, at my advanced age, sometimes I forget these things. So we have point C, which is inside the production possibilities frontier. So if the production possibilities frontier represents output combinations that are possible with an efficient use of resources, anything inside of the PPF, anything in this area in here, and actually I think I could highlight the area to show you. Anything in this gray area here is going to entail a combination of beer and pizza that's possible, but there has to be some level of efficiency. So because B is possible with efficiency, anything less than that is possible, but it entails some level of inefficiency.